Here we go. Welcome in. Happy hump day to you. Another edition of the Joe Raineri Show brought to you by wagertalk.com. Want to thank you guys very much for stopping by, hanging out with us for 58 and a half minutes or so. We got plenty to go over. We got plenty happening. We're going to talk about a lot of Florida, Miami sports here today. Anthony Chang from the Miami Herald. He covers the Miami Heat. The season's just about to begin. We got more Jimmy Butler drama on. We've got a contract coming up to a deadline, an extension with Winslow. What happens? What's going on with the Miami Heat? What's going on with Jimmy Butler? We're going to talk to Anthony Chang, try to get to the bottom of that. Also coming up, bottom of this hour, we're going to talk to our good friend Antoine Staley, USA Today, Athlon Sports. We're going to talk Dolphins, who have a really tough game against a really good defense coming up this weekend in the Chicago Bears. We're going to talk midseason reports, you Gator fans. What do you guys think so far of the Dan Mullen era? Plus, Miami Hurricane fans, what do you think thus far? Midterm reports, Mark Richt, the Hurricane season. We'll talk to Antoine Staley. He covers them both. He's got two really, really good pieces kind of breaking down where both of these programs are right now. So we're going to talk to him bottom of this hour. Want to remind you, of course, that you can reach us here via the Miami Acura hotline at 855-WTF 2255. That's 855 WTF 2255. We want to welcome our friends that are joining us on all the chat rooms as we broadcast to you live and stream to you live each and every Monday through Friday beginning at 4 o'clock. We got Twitter, we got Periscope, we got Twitch, we've got Facebook, we've got YouTube. We are across every platform there is. Make sure you guys check us out at WTF Sports TV. And we want to thank our good friends at wagertalk.com for sponsoring all of this. All right, we got to talk Yankees, what happened to them, what's going on there. We'll tell you why they lost. I know a lot of Yankee fans are trying to figure out what went wrong. I'll tell you what went wrong, but it's not exactly what most people think is the issue. But first, we got to send our thoughts and our prayers to the folks in the northern part of the state as we broadcast here live from Miami. We know what it's like to be in the Panhandle right now. We are all too familiar with what it is to have to deal with what they are dealing with, which at a Category 4 storm right now, Hurricane Michael, is pure devastation. It's fear, it's devastation, it's just your entire life being turned upside down without really having any idea of what is going to happen next. So rough time right now for those in Panama City and those in the whole Tallahassee area right now, in the Panhandle, parts of Alabama. You guys are watching Michael make landfall, Category 5. As a matter of fact, some of the pictures coming in are just, they're devastating. I mean, I don't know what else to say outside of devastation. This is in Mexico Beach, Florida. This is where the storm hit a little earlier today, if you guys want to check this out. Yeah, I mean, that's just pure devastation. Houses underwater. This is in Panama Beach, as a matter of fact. This is another one. I'd like to say that I don't know what that is, but we've all, anybody who has lived in South Florida for any amount of time, we know what that is like. And it is terrifying, in at least. I mean, it seems kind of fun. It's beautiful in one sense, but it's also just absolutely it's just heartbreaking too at the same time. So we want to make sure, as my dog's in the studio here, we want to make sure that those folks are okay. We wish them nothing but the best. Our thoughts, our prayers are with them. Even this lunatic, Jim Cantor, I don't know how much or what the insurance policy is with Jim Cantor. I don't know what his deal is. But this guy almost got mauled by a flying 2x4 earlier today. I mean, look at this guy. He almost gets crushed here. Look at that. I mean, how much do they have to pay Jim Cantori to show up to where the worst Mother Nature experiences are happening? We're talking just shy of a Category 5 hurricane, and this is Jim Cantori almost getting blasted today by a flying 2x4. I don't know what. God bless you, Jim. I mean, most of us try to get the hell out of the way with those situations. We don't want to stand by the water, and especially when there's 155-mile-an-hour winds. Nobody wants to do that, but congratulations, you do, my friend. It makes for very entertaining TV outside of the hurricane area, that's for sure, but God bless you, brother. I don't know how you do it. I'm all for the adrenaline rush, but you storm chasers are in a whole different category, man, a whole different category. But we wish the best to all of those affected by Hurricane Michael. We know what that's like. Our thoughts and our prayers are certainly with you, and the only thing I can say is that it will get better. It will get better, that is for sure. All right, we got to talk here. We're going to bring in Anthony Chang from the Miami Herald. He covers the Miami Heat, and we're going to talk to him in just a second. But the latest on the Jimmy Butler craziness, it continues. If you hadn't heard, we're going on 3 weeks now with the rumors and innuendos and the stories and the leaks about how Jimmy Butler wants to come to Miami, and that how Pat Riley and just about 2 or 3 other teams are trying to put a deal together to bring him to Miami. At what cost? We've been trying to get to the bottom of it. Going on 3 weeks. The season is just about to begin. And Jimmy Butler actually showed up at practice in Minnesota today. And according to Adrian Wojnarowski from ESPN, he showed up, and apparently he was verbally challenging teammates, coaches, the front office. Butler was vociferous and emotional at times. That is a hell of a word, Woj, by the way. I'm not sure. You know how many people saw that on Twitter and immediately went to Google to try to figure out what in the hell vociferous means? Apparently very animated, going after Thibs, going after Layden, Towns, Wiggins, just about everybody. He followed that up, Woj, with another tweet saying that at one point in the scrimmage, Butler turned to the GM, Scott Layden, and screamed, "You need me. You can't win without me." Butler left teammates and coaches largely speechless. He dominated the gym in just about every way. So it is, in a word, a shitstorm happening right now in Minnesota. There's no way around it. He doesn't want to be there. He's not happy about being there. So the question is, what do they do? And I do think we have a live look in Minnesota. We do. Let's take a look here. What's happening at the Minnesota Timberwolves training facility right now? There you go. That's what we've got there. That's what you're looking at, Minnesota here. And still, we have no idea whether or not Jimmy Butler is going to be a member of the Heat or if he's going to continue to be a member of the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I thought we'd bring in the Miami Herald's very own Anthony Chang to kind of help us out and figure out what's going on with the Heat, what's happening with this. And Anthony, we're going on 3 weeks now with this back and forth. What's the latest? What do you know about Jimmy Butler right now?
Well, the Heat are definitely interested. That's for sure. They're in it. Right now it seems like a game of chicken where, the Heat believe they have the leverage and they don't want to give up obviously too much to trade for a player who Minnesota can lose for nothing in free agency next summer. And Minnesota believes they have the leverage because they have the asset, they have the player. And Miami can't sign Jimmy Butler next summer because they don't have cap space. The only way they can acquire him is through a trade right now. So both teams believe they have the leverage, and that's kind of why things are how they are right now. They're both kind of, things are at a standstill because, Minnesota wants too much. They believe they deserve more for giving up Jimmy, and the Heat don't want to give up, what Minnesota's asking for. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, and what if there's a deal, what it looks like.
And listen, I get it from Jimmy Butler's point of view. There's a financial motive to maneuver away from getting this deal done sooner rather than later. But when you look at Thibodeau, I mean, here's a guy, president, coach, what he gave up to go out and get Jimmy Butler. I guess you can understand why he wants the world, because if he doesn't get in return what he gave up, it's kind of career suicide for him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in for him. I know he's getting criticized a lot right now, Thibodeau, but it's not an easy spot. Jimmy didn't give Minnesota much time to get this done. He it kind of was made public, 2 weeks before training camp, or even a week before training camp. And Minnesota's kind of under the gun right now. But yeah, Thibodeau, he has, like he says, he's trying to do what's best for the organization. But the problem is, like you said, Thibodeau knows that, yes, he can get young pieces and draft picks, but that's not going to help him this season. And Thibodeau wants to win this year because he knows if he doesn't have a good year, this could be it for him in Minnesota. So while the owner might be saying, oh, well, draft picks and, a couple of young pieces might be good enough, Thibodeau wants guys who can help him immediately and for them to, to help him get back to the playoffs. So, that's kind of the complicated dynamic of this all. What does Minnesota want? Do they want long-term pieces? Do they want win-now players? I think teams have been getting mixed answers on that because there are two people involved on Minnesota's side that seem to want different things. So that's kind of making this a little more complicated too.
Yeah, and time is of the essence. I mean, listen, as the roster stands, the Heat are pretty much exactly what they were last year. They're a middle of the road. Right. They're a bottom seed. And listen, Jimmy Butler can, getting a piece like Jimmy Butler can actually, move them up the ladder a little bit, maybe get them in that upper tier in the playoffs. But at what cost? And Anthony Chang joining us, Miami Herald. He follows the Miami Heat. He covers them. At what cost, Anthony, though? What is too much if you're Pat Riley? What's off limits?
Well, I think it just depends on. It depends on the deal. Like, for instance, there have been reports that, and Miami Herald's Barry Jackson reported this as well, that Josh Richardson has been offered, to Minnesota, or he's been involved in different offers that have been discussed. Yes, Jimmy Butler is better than Josh Richardson, but the value matters too. Josh Richardson, you have him locked up here for 4 years at $42 million, which is an average of like $10 million a year, which is a bargain for a guy like Josh Richardson who's getting better. Jimmy Butler is making $20 million this year. He's going to ask for a deal that's, 5 years, $190 million in the offseason. So an average of like almost $40 million a year. So yes, Jimmy Butler is better, but the gap, is it that big? That's the question. Yes, Jimmy Butler is better than anybody he'd have right now, but are you willing to give up a young asset that's a good value for a guy who's, kind of almost past his peak, and a 5-year contract? If you give that to him in the offseason, he could be 34 at the end of it, and he's not going to be who he is now. So it's tough. Do you trade Josh Richardson for Jimmy for the short term, knowing that maybe on the back end of that deal in 5 years, the trade might not look as good? When Josh is still 28 years old and Jimmy's past his prime.
Yeah, and listen, the salary cap's not helping us here. We're not really going to be free or have any maneuverability until 2020 as it stands right now. But we also, the clock is ticking on Justice Winslow. Is there a push to get a deal done prior to October 15th, which is the final day? I mean, he is eligible to sign a contract extension, but there comes a whole lot of issues with that extension, doesn't there?
Yeah, it's another complicated issue as well because of the Jimmy Butler trade talks. That's one reason it's kind of gotten difficult. But there has been talks between the Heat and Justice. Justice said as much yesterday when I spoke with him, that they've been kind of going back and forth, discussing the extension. But it's complicated because if you sign Justice to an extension, it kind of almost not technically doesn't make it impossible, but it makes it extremely difficult to include Justice in any trade just because of CBA rules for the next year if you sign him to an extension. So you have to kind of be positive that Justice is not going to be a part of any Jimmy Butler trade if you get that extension done here over the next few days. And second, like you said, salary cap wise, the Heat are already capped out next summer.
Yeah,
they're $10 million over the salary cap. So then you add Justice at you estimate the extension could be $9 to $10 million a year. You're now over $20 million over the cap, which you're approaching a luxury tax at that point. So the Heat are in a tough spot. I'm sure they would love to keep Justice, but I think it's while they're discussing it, it's going to be hard. I think to kind of make that room for him when you have so much money invested in other guys already.
Yep. Anthony Chang, Miami Herald, follows and covers the Miami Heat season just about underway here. And what is the mood? Because let's face it, with all of these rumors and innuendos about Jimmy Butler and who's being traded, what is your feel around the team with these guys whose names have continued to come up time and time again? I mean, it can't be a comfortable situation feeling like, here I am on the Miami Heat, but I may not be here in a couple of weeks.
Well, everyone's been handling it very well. We haven't been allowed to really talk to guys on the record about that stuff. The Heat have kind of made it known that they don't addressing those rumors, and players and coaches want to address the rumors. But just from being around the team on the road, just last week and in training camp and even this week at home, they've been handling it well. I think they understand what's going on. I'm sure it is a little bit of an awkward environment just because there's so many other guys' names have been involved in different rumors, whether it's Goran or Kelly or Josh Richardson or Justice Winslow, Hassan Whiteside, shopping Deion Waiters. I mean, it seems like half the roster has been involved in rumors over the past few weeks. So I'm sure it's a little bit uneasy, but for the most part, considering it all, considering the circumstances, they've been handling it, fairly well.
And listen, with the season just around the corner here, Anthony, the health of this team, we know it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, the NBA season. We get that. But so far, we hope we're going to get healthier. What is the state of the injuries and the health of this team going into the season?
Well, they have dealt with a lot of injuries this preseason, but I think a lot of them have been minor, and a lot of guys have been out just out of precaution. They don't want to rush back, since these games really don't matter and the season's so close to starting. But the Heat hope that Wayne and Derek Jones, Wayne Ellington and Derek Jones can come back tonight, on Wednesday or at some point here, before the end of the preseason. They practiced yesterday. They hope to have him back. Goran, I guess, banged knees with a player in Monday's win over the Magic. He's questionable against the Pelicans, but that seems minor too. I'm sure if there was a regular season, he would play. I wouldn't be surprised if they might shut him down for the final two games of the preseason and just let him rest for the start of the year, season next week. But the guys who there's a chance they could miss the start of the season, have a real chance of missing the start of the year, is Deion Waiters, who Bolsher said it's unlikely he'll be ready for the opener, and James Johnson, who right now his status is in question for the opener as well, although I would say he has a better chance of maybe making it by then, better chance than Deion. So I think James Johnson and Deion are the two guys that there's a real chance they could kind of miss time here to start the regular season, but we'll see. But the other guys, they should be ready to go.
Well, listen, it's a long season, but it's about to get underway. The good news is it's the Miami Heat. We know no matter what the outcome is, they're going to play hard. They're going to give the fans everything they can. And, of course, Dwayne Wade, the farewell tour, will begin. And either way, it's going to make for an exciting season, and certainly encourage you guys to follow Anthony Chang, Miami Herald. He is with the team. He covers the team all year long. Great stuff there with the Herald. Anthony, I appreciate your time, my friend. Best of luck this season. I look forward to doing this again.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me on, Joe.
You got it. All right, Anthony Chang, Miami Herald. Great stuff there, guys. Make sure you check him out on Twitter. Wired in with the team. He follows them. Some great stuff there. The drama continues with Jimmy Butler. Nobody knows what the situation is. He's causing all sorts of problems in Minnesota. How is he forcing Thibodeau's hand? We don't know. I can tell you this. If he doesn't end up getting traded, and he ends up having to suit up and continue to play for the Minnesota Timberwolves, at least until maybe February. I mean, we did see this also. Don't forget, we saw this with Carmelo Anthony, too. He kind of did the whole hissy fit thing until he eventually got traded over to the Knicks mid-season before the trade deadline. So it's not out of the question that he ends up staying in Minnesota, but I do think that the way he's acting and what he's doing, he is sending a message that if you're going to force me to play here, it's not going to be fun for anybody. So it's going to be very fun to see it. But if he doesn't get traded, there is going to be drama beyond all drama. There is going to be so much fun to follow the Minnesota Timberwolves to see exactly what happens there and what kind of drama is going to continue to unfold in that organization if he's suiting up and playing next to Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns. And I cannot wait to see the reaction. He spent all damn day just blasting. I think he was playing with the third stringers, too, at one point during the scrimmage, and he was taking it to the first teamers. So there is going to be a lot of fun to follow and see what's happening with Jimmy Butler. I hope Jimmy Butler is a ferocious competitor. The guy wants his intensity would be perfect here for a Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra-led Miami Heat organization. He is a great fit for this organization. His personality and how hungry he is and how fierce he is perfect for here. He would thrive in Miami. I have no question about that. The problem is Miami's got to do some figuring out here because not a lot of cap space. What do you do at Winslow? What happens? I do think that he does take them from a bottom tier 6, 7, 8th seed in the playoffs, who really doesn't have any chance of getting out of the first or second round. I do think if you add Jimmy Butler, you've moved into the middle upper tier there with the possibility of maybe going a little further in the playoffs, and then we'll see what the future brings. But it would be a great torch passing from Dwayne Wade rather, to Jimmy Butler here in the city of Miami. It would be very interesting to see what happens, but at what cost? That really is what it's going to come down to. But the Heat aren't shying away. They're trying the negotiations, trying to get everything all wrapped up. So we will monitor it. We'll keep you posted here. Anthony Chang, absolutely somebody that you want to follow with the Miami Herald. Want to thank him so very much for stopping by and hanging out with us. And coming up here in just about 5 minutes, we're going to talk with our good friend Antoine Staley of the USA Today Athlon Sports. He covers one of the other teams here in South Florida. That would be the Miami Dolphins. He also covers the Miami Hurricanes and the the Florida Gators. Some very interesting takes and some pieces and articles that he has written this week. I want to get his thoughts on all three of those teams. We will do that coming up. Also want to say hello to I want to shake a shout out to Jeremy, who's joining us in the Facebook chat room. Jeremy, what's going on? Michael's the main breaking news story: 3 strongest hurricanes on record to hit the U.S. parade. Yeah, no, we've been doing that, man. It's brutal. I mean, it is absolutely brutal. And again, if you guys didn't see it, we're dealing with crazy Jim Cantore here. Almost getting hit by 2x4s. I just not a job that I would ever, having lived through a hurricane, that is not a job I would ever want. And why do you have to be so close, dude? Seriously, seek shelter. It's crazy the videos that are coming in too from the Panhandle area right now, and it's not good, too, because once it starts to make its way inland, it's actually heading over to the Carolinas. The last thing they need is more rain. So, once again, Mother Nature in the month of October still showing that she rules, she dominates. So, our thoughts and our prayers are definitely with all the folks, family members, those of you that are in the Panhandle. Thoughts and prayers are with you, as well as the guys on the Minnesota Timberwolves who have to continue to deal with Jimmy Butler. All right, so coming up, we're going to talk to Antoine Staley. We're going to get our Dolphins fix. We're going to talk Hurricanes. We're going to talk UF. What are the grades so far? Midterms, University of Florida Gators, Miami Hurricanes. We'll get his thoughts. But first, want to thank our good friends over at Miami Acura for sponsoring the show here today, making this possible. Miami Acura definitely wants you to stop by, take a test drive, the all-new 2019 RDX. When I tell you the truck, it's like driving in your living room. Amazing. All new, all redesigned. It's like driving on air. And the prices and the deals right now, unlike anything that you've ever seen. If you are in the market, if you're looking for a new car, you're looking for a new family automobile, might I suggest you head over to Miami Acura. In the 305, you guys know where it is, South Dixie Highway in Palmetto Bay. For those of you outside of the 305, hit them up, 855-564-4669. That's 855-564-4669. 4669. Make sure that you tell them Joe sent you. And coming back here in 2 minutes, we'll have Antoine Staley from USA Today and Athlon Sports. We'll get you your Miami Dolphins fix for those of you that are still fans. But first, we just got to acknowledge a few other of our sponsors. Low Cost Airlines, Superior Cruise and Travel. We want to thank you guys very much for making the Joe Raineri Show a part of the family.
Where do you want to go on a vacation or honeymoon? The Caribbean, Europe, Hawaii, Mexico? How about Disney or a cruise? At Superior Cruise and Travel, we've got you covered. We'll assign you your own travel concierge. They'll help you design a custom vacation plan that you can't find online. And the service is completely free. You can't compare the value of this to any other online travel company. We can help you plan a custom vacation anywhere in the world. We even offer payment plans with no credit card required. Now you pay off your vacation on your time schedule. Call now and mention the promo code RADIO and save up to $500. Book your custom trip. Call Superior Cruise and Travel now and talk to one of the highest rated travel agencies in the country with a 5-star A+ online rating.
800-901-5536. 800-901-5536. 800-901-5536. That's 800-901-5536.
Were you scammed into signing a timeshare contract? And did you miss the part that said you have to pay for your great idea? Not only for the rest of your life, but when you're not here anymore, you get to pass this turkey onto your family for them to pay for the rest of their lives. Thanks, Dad. Don't burden your family down the road, and don't be stuck with expensive timeshare payments forever. Get out of your bad idea timeshare contract guaranteed, or pay nothing. Call Resort Release today and learn for free how their timeshare exit team can help you legally exit your timeshare contract. They've helped thousands of people, and they're A+ rated with a BBB. So if you feel scammed, get mad and get out of your expensive timeshare contract right now, guaranteed. Call NOW.
800-898-0816. 800-898-0816. 800-898-0816. That's 800-898-0816.
Back pain doesn't take vacations. It never celebrates holidays. It's on the job 24/7 to keep your life exactly where it is, in limbo. But it doesn't have to be that way, because Laser Spine Institute can help you take back your life from chronic neck and back pain. With a less than 1-inch incision, our minimally invasive procedures have provided relief to over 60,000 patients with a 97% patient satisfaction rate. So get ready to stand tall and live the life you've imagined for yourself without pain. Are you or a loved one suffering from a bulging disc, herniated disc, spinal stenosis, pinched nerve, or degenerative disc disease? Call our spine care consultants now for a no-cost MRI review and to learn more. It's time to say goodbye to chronic neck and back pain. What have you got to lose? Laser Spine Institute, the leader in minimally invasive spine surgery.
Call 855-720-BACK. 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 That's 855-720-BACK.
Don't be such a pussy. Subscribe to the Say It With Me podcast with Joe Raineri on iTunes today.
Hey guys, all right, middle of the week, we're getting ready for another slate of games this weekend, both college and the NFL, and want to talk some Gators and Miami Hurricanes, also want to talk some Miami Dolphins. I know it's a very sore topic here in South Florida, but I couldn't think of anybody more level-headed to give us the real scoop as to what's happening here with the Miami Dolphins than Antoine Staley, USA Today, Athlon Sports. He joins us via the Miami Acura hotline. And Antoine, let's start with the Miami Dolphins. You had a very interesting piece that you wrote earlier in the week, and you hate to point fingers, but, man, the offensive troubles with this Miami team, you're pointing a finger at one guy. That guy is Adam Gase.
Yeah, it's his team. He said it throughout the spring that this is the team he envisioned throughout his course of the, being with the Dolphins. It's the team he wanted to have, and, you know, they're one of the worst offenses in the NFL right now. They've only scored 17 points on offense the last 2 games. I think they rank 29th in total offense at the moment, and they've just been horrific the last few weeks. So I think a lot of it points to him because I know they're suffering through injuries at the moment, but it is his fault. It is his roster. It was his decision to bring on older veterans and and replace some of the bigger names that that were on the Dolphins, like in the Dominican Sue, like a Jarvis Landry, like Mike Pouncey, who's actually playing well for the Chargers right now, but they want to replace him with Daniel Kilgore, who's out for the year. So a lot of these decisions aren't his fault; they fall right in his head.
Talk to me about Ryan Tannehill. The first 3 weeks of the season, Dolphin fans, people going, see, I told you, Ryan Tannehill, he's going to be just fine. He's the right guy. He's healthy. And now, after last week's performance against Cincinnati, it's you got to get rid of Tannehill. We're nowhere with him. He's useless. What is it? What is Ryan Tannehill, Antoine?
He's been who he's always been. Been an average or a little bit above average quarterback. Sort of like what Tyrod Taylor was for the Bills. Somebody that can win you games at times, but other times he's going to look like he doesn't even belong as a starter in the league. That's just how he is. That's how Ryan Tannehill has always been. But we created this narrative that, let's finally see what Ryan Tannehill can be from year 5, year 6, year 7. We've been knowing what Ryan Tannehill is. Yeah, he might have got better with better coaching early on in his career, but I don't think his career would have been that much different than what it is now. It's just slightly below average Alex Smith, who just, he's an above average quarterback himself, but they're not guys that's going to take you to the promised land and win Super Bowls and playoff games with. They're guys that maybe can get you to the playoffs, but they can't get you over the top.
Antoine Staley joining us, USA Today, Athlon Sports, covers the Dolphins. And listen, got some injuries. I mean, they are banged up, the Miami Dolphins, no doubt. The best part of this team is the defense. Cameron Wake was down last week. Where are we on a health standpoint with this team right now?
Well, Bobby McCain, he's practice limited today, what I understand. Also, Larry Tunsil, he suffered a concussion on Sunday against the Bengals. He did practice today, but he's still in the concussion protocol. Andre Branch also returned to practice as well. We'll see about Cameron Wake and if he can practice throughout the course of the week. He was not out there, but yeah, it's going to be interesting because they have a ton of injuries, and we're just 5 weeks into the season, and it's not going to get any easier, especially considering they don't have a bye week until another month from now, and they also have the Chicago Bears coming to town, who have arguably the defensive player of the year right now, Khalil Mack.
Yeah, not going to be easy. The defense certainly is going to be one that they haven't seen to date yet. But if there is a good story, Antoine, it's maybe we're starting to see the value of a Laramie Tunsil, and maybe we're starting to see that this guy was worth the the pick, and the way he has progressed from last year. That should at least be exciting for Dolphin fans.
Yeah, I think so. He's definitely playing a lot better than what he did last year. You have to remember, that was his first year in the NFL as a left tackle. And the previous year, he had played at left guard. And I know some people may think, well, it'll be a smoothest transition, but it's not. You're playing against, as a guard, you're playing against defensive tackles mostly. And left tackle, you're playing speed rushers to it. And you have to get adjusted to that NFL-type speed rusher. It's not even the SEC where you have a lot of big guys that not necessarily faster than you. You got 300-pound guys that are running past you that are faster than you are, and you have to be able to adjust to that. I think that was a tough time for Tunsil last year.
Yeah, man, it's been impressive, and this is a different team, certainly the offensive line with him in and not in the lineup, and we saw that last week. But once again, it comes back to, why are we not getting Kenyon Drake more touches? Why are we not putting the ball in his hands more? Is it again, an Adam Gase thing? Is it a scheme thing? Like, why are we not getting more Kenyon Drake touches?
It's an Adam Gase thing. I think so, because he's not a guy that likes to run the football. He's going to air it out. And my biggest criticism of him, there's been situations where they've been run, where they should run the ball when they pass. Perfect example was a 3rd-and-1 call in the third quarter of last week's game against the Bengals. You had to lead. You were up 17-3 at the time. Why not just run the ball, keep the clock moving? Instead, you end up throwing the ball down the field to Kenny Stills, which was incomplete, and now you have to play. And I felt like that was a game changer, and it was one of the things that changed that game. Why not just run the ball with Frank Gore, who had had a good day up until that point? I don't get what Adam Gase is thinking. Why throw the ball? Why you feel like you need to throw the ball when A, you don't have a quarterback like a Peyton Manning on your roster, and B, when you have the run game is being successful? I can see if Peyton and Tom Brady, they don't necessarily need a running game to be successful, but as you know, Ryan Tannehill is no Peyton Manning.
No.
So, yeah, you need a really good running game and some good surrounding cast for him to be successful.
Antoine Staley joining us, USA Today, Athlon Sports. How close is Adam Gase to losing this team, do you think, Antoine? Another heartbreaking loss against the Bears, maybe one or two more? Are we very thin here as far as the morale going on with this team right now?
I won't say they're close. I'm not going to freak out about the two losses yet. We'll see how they play against the Bears. I'm really curious because if they lose this game and maybe the Lions game, then I think it's a fair argument. I think it's a fair question to ask because, I think that this season can get away from them very quickly because you have three really key games coming up against the Bears, against the Lions, and then you go on the road on Thursday Night Football on a short week against Houston. Theoretically, they can lose all three of those games. And then now you're 3-2. You could end up being 3-5 after it's all said and done. And then you go into the month of November and December, and you still got to play the Packers, you still have to play the Vikings, you still have to play the Patriots, still got to play the Bills. Even though the Bills aren't a good team, but they did beat the Tennessee Titans team at home. So you might think that they can at least maybe get a game against the Dolphins there. And you have to play the Jacksonville Jaguars in December, who are probably going to be a playoff team as well.
Yep.
So they got a very tough schedule coming up, and it doesn't seem like it's going to get any easier for them in doing this stretch.
No, it certainly doesn't. And as a guy that covers Miami sports, thank goodness for the Gators and for the Hurricanes. Otherwise, it would be a miserable time for you, Antoine. Let's start with the Gators with a big home victory over LSU last weekend. Is it a surprise to you how far this team has come with Dan Mullen and what he's been able to do? Did you see this team evolving to what they are this quickly?
Not just quick. I thought they won 8 games, and I thought that'd be a decent season for the Gators. Considering they won 4 the last year, you double that up and win 8. I thought that would be a really good season. Now, where is the potential they could win 10 games? You got Georgia up on the schedule. I think that's the toughest game they have left. Yeah, sure they play Florida State in Tallahassee, but they're no world beaters right now, as we've seen. The Hurricanes did end up beating them by a point, but there's no reason why Florida, with the talent they have, they can't win that game. And then you have games against Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Missouri, all games they'll all be favored in going forward. And they finished 10-2 coming off a 4-7 season. I think that'd be a hell of an accomplishment.
Yeah, the Dan Mullen era is underway in Florida. Certainly, Gainesville's got to be excited about that. And it seems as if, Dan Mullen, the offense, it's starting to become a Dan Mullen team. We knew the defense was going to be good with the athletes they have on, but if they continue to get better on offense, this is a very dangerous team in the SEC.
Yeah, I agree. The thing that really impressed me about Mullen is what he's done with Frank. Some of my Franks he just looked lost at times last year under Jim McElwain, and didn't look like he belonged on the field. Thought he looked more like a backup. This year, Frank's his completion percentage is about the same what it was last year, but he's making more smart decisions with the football. He's not throwing in the coverage as much. He's using his legs a little bit more than he did last year, and I think Mullen is just saying, you know what? He is what he is. He's not gonna change. He's not going to be one of these Will Greer or any of these guys, quarterbacks that are out there in college football. Well, great quarterbacks, NFL-type quarterbacks, but we know what he is, and we feel like we can win games with him. So why not use his strengths? And one of his biggest strengths is his legs and his athleticism. I feel like the Gators have done a good job with that.
Yeah, and then, of course, the Miami Hurricanes at home taking on the rival, the Florida State Seminoles, who are not the same team, although, yes, it was only a point victory, and it still counts as a win, but there is still a lot of concerns with this Hurricanes team moving forward here because a lot of very undisciplined, a lot of sloppiness. That game should not have been as close as it was. So there's still some work to do in Miami with Mark Richt and the Hurricanes. No?
Yes, it definitely is. When you have a young quarterback like N'Kosi Perry, you're going to have some up and downs throughout the course of the game. I felt like their defense didn't play necessarily as well as they could have. I thought play calling was very questionable at times by Mark Richt. But yeah, they definitely this back half second half of the schedule is going to be interesting. You go to Virginia this week, a team that a really decent team in the ACC, not as good as Miami. And then you still have games at Boston College on a Friday night in Chestnut Hill, and of course the big one against Virginia Tech in November the 17th, which is probably going to determine the ACC Coastal Division title. Yeah, Virginia Tech does have 2 losses on the year, but remember, they do not have any ACC losses right now. So they're staying neck and neck with the Hurricanes, and that one loss could end up determining whether they be in Charlotte against more likely Clemson or whether they be at home and have to just wait throughout the whole process.
Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting game against Virginia, that is for sure. Virginia and Brock Mendenhall, what he's done with that program. A lot of people had that team winning 3 games this year. Was going to be supposed to be the bottom of the barrel here in the ACC, but they have surprised a lot of people. They've done very well, so this is going to be a good test on the road for the Hurricanes. But just devastating news with Ahman Richards that came out shortly after the game was over on the weekend. His football career is over, and for those that don't know Antoine, help them understand that are listening just what he meant to this team and how his future was really could have been one of the best that we have seen here at this program.
Yeah, I'll answer the second question first. Mark Richards had the potential to be a first-round pick. That's how good he was. He could have been a mid to late first-round pick in the NFL draft, but injuries kind of been a tell of his career, and unfortunately, he won't be able to play again in football again because of a neck injury. And what he meant to that program, but players loved him. You had a lot of those players, they loved him. They cried when they heard the news. Obviously, the news was released right after the game, which kind of took a lot of the luster off the beating Florida State, a game that you feel like, oh, yeah, you beat Florida State for the first time in Miami for the first time since 2004, and then you hear that heartbreaking news that Richards he can't continue his career, and yeah, I thought a lot of players ended up feeling bad for him. And some players, Mark Richt in general, didn't necessarily want to talk about it after the game or even the day after during his teleconference. But yeah, it really hurt. It really stained this program big time because this is the second player they've lost to a career-threatening injury in the last year. They lost Young last year, the cornerback there. He suffered also a devastating injury that won't allow him to continue his career. So, yeah, it's really tough for that program to lose those 2 great players in the span of less than a year.
And I'm wondering, Antoine, was there any thoughts? I mean, was there any rumors? Was there a hint that this was coming? Or was there an honest anticipation that Ahman Richards would be back at some point this year?
Yeah, that was the general consensus that, yeah, he had an injury, but I don't think anybody thought it was career-ending. They might have thought it might have been season-ending, but career-ending and season-ending are, of course, 2 different things. I had never heard anything. I think this was news to everybody once it broke, and, of course, Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald broke a great story about it. But, yeah, it was news. This was a shock to a lot of different people, and even inside the program, it was still a lot of shock there.
Yeah, no, it was heartbreaking when it came out, and it did take some of the luster off the excitement of beating Florida State. But listen, he's got the rest of his life. Football's one thing; he's got a whole life ahead of him. So we wish him nothing but the best. And you came out recently with your midterm reports here with both Florida and Miami. So what were the grades? Give me a grade for Florida. Give me a grade for Miami here thus far.
I think after that LSU game, you kind of have to go with, I would say, a B+.
Okay.
I think they looked as good as you could come out that LSU loss. I think had they beat LSU, I mean, I would have given them an A. But yeah, I think they've looked impressive and they've gotten better and better each week. Yeah, the Florida State game shouldn't have been as close as what it was, but I think them putting in Coach Perry, I think, really changed their offense, and I think now they have a legitimate shot of going 11-1 and playing in the championship.
Yeah, and that's really what it's all about. The goal remains the same here. Get to the ACC championship, and the rest is going to take care of itself. So definitely recommend you guys checking out Antoine Staley, USA Today, Athlon Sports. Nobody covers the Miami teams like he does. Make sure you subscribe. Check him out. Antoine, appreciate the time, my friend, as always. Enjoy the games this weekend. We'll talk again soon.
All right, you take it easy, Joe.
All right, that's Antoine Staley. Make sure you guys check him out. USA Today, covers the Dolphins. Love his stuff. Covers the Canes, and he's a real cool follow on Twitter, too, because he's at all of these games. And if you want to get a pretty good sense of what's going on with the games, definitely somebody that you want to follow. That's Antoine Staley, at Antoine Staley, part of the USA Today and Athlon Sports crew. So we want to thank him for stopping by. I know you guys are chiming in with a whole bunch of Dolphins talk. Devontae Parker, where is he? Devontae Parker is a hot mess. We all know that. I don't know that he's going to finish the season on the team. I wish he could play. I really do. I think he'd be a valuable asset to the team, but unfortunately it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Doesn't look like Adam Gase and them trust him. So that's a giant waste of time. And on average, yes, the Dolphins wide receiver core is average. They are. They don't have a ton of weapons. And like Antoine talked about, the move was get away from some of the veteran leadership on his team, get rid of Pouncey, get rid of these guys and kind of bring in some new, fresh, younger blood. And it hasn't worked thus far. But let us not forget, the Dolphins still have 3 wins. They're 3-2, but the schedule gets incredibly hard from here. They're going to face one of the best defenses in the NFL, probably the best defense that they faced all year. They're going to have to get Jacksonville down the road. They've got a lot of very difficult games ahead of them. And, this 3 wins so far, will it be a 5 or 6 win season? I do think if it's a 5 or 6 win season, I think if they lose to Chicago and they lose again and they start getting a 3-4, maybe 5 game losing streak, it's going to be very hard for Adam Gase to keep this team together and not lose the locker room. And 5 wins, maybe 6 wins. Let us not forget, in the beginning of the year, Vegas had Miami Dolphins. Their over-under, I believe, was 6.5, 7 games. And there were, in the beginning of the year, there were a whole bunch of people going, I'm taking the under. There is no way in hell the Miami Dolphins are going to win more than 7 games, 7.5 games. It's not going to happen. And then they rattled off the 3 victories to start the year, and all of a sudden the talk with the Miami Dolphins, it became about, we're going to be a 9-win team. We can definitely be able to do this. And then the, reality set in with the New England Patriots, and now we're back to reality. But let us not forget, Vegas originally had them, their over-under win total to start the year was right around 7. And to tell you the truth, looking at the schedule from here, and let's see what, let me take a look and see exactly what that Dolphins schedule is. And let's see how many more wins that we can maybe pinpoint and say they've got a really good chance. How many more games are the Dolphins going to be favored in? The Bears this week, they've got the Lions, followed by a short week, the Texans. Then they've got the Jets, Packers, Colts, Bills, Patriots, Vikings, Jags, and Bills to end the season once again. So there's not easy. Can they beat the Lions at home? Yeah, they can certainly, as long as it doesn't get into a slugfest where they've got to score point for point with the Lions, because I don't think they can do that. The Texans have been getting better and better, although Deshaun Watson's been a little banged up. So that's going to be, I believe, that's a Thursday night game there, the Dolphins-Texans on the 25th of this month. Then they've got the Jets at home, Packers, Colts, Dolphins. So can they get 4 wins, 4 or 5 wins or more? A lot is going to be determined with the health of that offensive line and what happens with this Bears game, because that Bears defense coming to town this Sunday, it could be a very, very, very long afternoon for the offense of the Miami Dolphins if they can't stop that front 7 of the Chicago Bears. It could get ugly in a hurry there. And, of course, Trubisky's coming off a all-world performance, threw 423 touchdowns in that game against Tampa Bay. So they're riding on some confidence right now. The Dolphins, I got to tell you, if they can pull a victory off at home against this Chicago Bears team, then all will be well again, at least for another week. But if they lose that and then they've got to go into that Lions game, good thing is that at home the following weekend, short week then with the Texans and then the Jets, Packers, and Colts. There's nothing easy moving forward here for the Dolphins, especially with a makeshift offensive line. And if Laramie Tunsil's got to miss any extended period of time, that offensive line is, you know, you're going to go up against defenses like the Bears and the Texans and J.J. Watt and then the Jets again. So you're looking at even the Lions defense, for all their faults in the beginning of the year, have managed to somehow pull it back together. But the Texans, the Jets, the Bears defense, 3 out of the next 4 weeks, you're talking about extremely good defenses that are going to be very hard to score on, and we got to hope that Cameron Wake and the rest of the defensive guys are able to get healthy and move forward and get back on the field, because they can use all the help that they need. That is for sure. All right, welcome back in. If you're just joining us here, welcome in. It is another edition of the Joe Raineri Show, brought to you by WagerTalk.com. What is WagerTalk.com? Well, it is the place that you go for the ultimate free information about sports wagering. If you guys have ever bet on a game or are thinking about betting on a game, knowledge is power, and there is some amazing free knowledge at WagerTalk.com. Not to mention, you've got a dozen or so of the best, the most successful sports handicappers in the country. You'll have access to them there at WagerTalk.com. Our friend Ralph Michaels, the legend himself, he'll be joining us tomorrow. We'll go ahead and give you some thoughts on the Thursday night game, and then, you know, let's talk about it. Giants, Philadelphia, and then the weekend's action. So a lot of people being able to make money. Ralph Michaels 3-1 again last week on his locks that he gave you here on the show. So he'll be joining us tomorrow, 4 o'clock, right here, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, at WTF Sports TV, at Joe Raineri Show. So make sure you guys join us there, but also head over to WagerTalk.com. Some unbelievably great knowledge and power and information and free picks that are available to you at WagerTalk.com. More and more of the videos are coming in, and it's just pure devastation for the poor folks in the panhandle of Florida. If you guys haven't seen what's going on there, it's just... it's rough. This was right where the hurricane made landfall here earlier this afternoon. Mexico Beach, I believe, is what it is. Yeah, this is a little town right off there in the Panhandle, and it's just everything is underwater, and it's tough. I mean, it's a brutal situation what's happening there. As these photos start to come in, it's just crazy. I mean, the wind gusts alone. I mean, this is another photo that's being released that's making circulation right now. And those of us here in South Florida, we know all about what that is and what that looks like, and it's the power of that wind, crazy. Trees getting uprooted all over the place. Yeah, it's nuts. So our thoughts and our prayers certainly with the folks that are in the Panhandle right now, up at that whole coast. It is tough. It's going to be a tough recovery. Know that, having been here in Florida for 20-some-odd years in South Florida, lived through this, know what that's all about. So my thoughts and, you know, my heart and prayer goes out to these folks, because it's going to be it's going to be a very long road back once they can get the flooding out of the way, once they can start getting back in there, supplies, and I just hope everyone who stayed behind, and there were a number of people who unfortunately couldn't go anywhere and ended up staying behind, and we hope that they're okay, and we hope that help can get to them sooner rather than later. And then you got to hope for the folks in the Carolinas once again, as Michael is making its way, inland, it's heading right towards the Carolinas, and the last thing they need is more rain. So it's just a tough situation all across the board. And then you got this crazy bastard, Jim Cantore. He's almost getting taken out by 2x4s that are flying at 155-mile-an-hour winds. You just couldn't pay me, man. It's hard enough being in a location that is, concrete with storm shutters and everything else. It's hard enough, but to stand out there like that is just, the guy's out of his damn mind. It really is. And Dawn, appreciate that, Dawn. Always a pleasure to see you, sweetheart. Unfortunately, we're in the South, so we're good. We've gotten a little rain here or there, but up north in the Panhandle on the Gulf Coast side of Florida, Tallahassee and Panama Beach and Pensacola and all of those cities right there, right into Alabama, in fact, it's going to be brutal. So our thoughts and our prayers are with them. And, of course, do want to let you know, coming up, we've got some New York Yankee information. Yankee fans have been just devastated over the last 24 hours. It wasn't as if it wasn't bad enough. We had to deal with the Red Sox celebrating on Yankee grass in Yankees house. Then they had to celebrate after the game. They had to go ahead and do all of that celebrating in the clubhouse, playing New York, and Sinatra. Just a brutal last 24, 48 hours for New York Yankee fans. But I can tell you this. The reason that the Yankees lost isn't because of what everyone is talking about. A lot of people pointing fingers at Aaron Boone. Boone's got to go. Bring back Girardi. Everyone's a bum. I've heard it all over the last 24 hours, but it really comes down to two simple things as far as I'm concerned. We're blaming the wrong people. And if you want to point fingers, Yankee fans, because it makes you feel better, I'll help you point the fingers, but I got to tell you where to point the fingers because you're not pointing them at the right people. Two big reasons why the Yankees lost to the Red Sox. I'll give them to you both coming up here in 2 minutes as we once again just want to celebrate and thank our friends, our sponsors that make this all possible. That would be Low Cost Airlines, Superior Cruise and Travel, and our good friends at Miami Acura who invite you to stop by, take a test drive, the all-new 2019 RDX. It's yours. It can be yours. An unbelievable deal happening right now for that all-new redesigned 2019 RDX. But you got to get to Miami Acura, South Dixie Highway, Palmetto Bay, for those of you in the 305. Outside of the 305, simply call them at 855-564-4669. That's 855-564-4669. We're going to take 2 minutes and thank our sponsors. They support us, so I certainly hope you'll take the time to support them. And then we'll be back. I'll give you the 2 reasons why the New York Yankees lost to the Boston Red Sox. It's not what you think, and you're blaming the wrong people. I'll explain. That's coming up next.
And one day, I heard them talking about this guy, some uncle I never knew, called Uncle Sam. Well, they say this Uncle Sam guy wanted them to pay him like $1 gazillion, and they didn't have $1 gazillion. So they called this company they heard on the radio called the Tax Doctor. And the Tax Doctor worked with Uncle Sam's people. I think they're called the IRS. And they were able to work it out so my mom and dad didn't have to pay Uncle Sam very much money at all. So now mom and dad are happy, and I'm happy too. Thanks, Tax Doctor.
If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state, call now and pay less. 800-663-5107. 800-663-5107. That's 800-663-5107.
Where do you want to go on a vacation or honeymoon? The Caribbean, Europe, Hawaii, Mexico? How about Disney or a cruise? At Superior Cruise and Travel, we've got you covered. We'll assign you your own travel concierge. They'll help you design a custom vacation plan that you can't find online. And the service is completely free. You can't compare the value of this to any other online travel company. We can help you plan a custom vacation anywhere in the world. We even offer payment plans with no credit card required. Now you pay off your vacation on your time schedule. Call now and mention the promo code RADIO and save up to $500. Book your custom trip. Call Superior Cruise and Travel now and talk to one of the highest-rated travel agencies in the country with a 5-star A+ online rating.
800-901-5536. 800-901-5536. 800-901-5536. That's 800-901-5536.
Were you scammed into signing a timeshare contract? And did you miss the part that said you have to pay for your great idea? Not only for the rest of your life, but when you're not here anymore, you get to pass this turkey onto your family for them to pay for the rest of their lives. Thanks, Dad. Don't burden your family down the road, and don't be stuck with expensive timeshare payments forever. Get out of your bad idea timeshare contract guaranteed, or pay nothing. Call Resort Release today and learn for free how their timeshare exit team can help you legally exit your timeshare contract. They've helped thousands of people, and they're A+ rated with a BBB. So if you feel scammed, get mad and get out of your expensive timeshare contract right now, guaranteed. Call NOW.
800-898-0816. 800-898-0816. 800-898-0816. That's 800-898-0816.
Back pain doesn't take vacations. It never celebrates holidays. It's on the job 24/7 to keep your life exactly where it is, in limbo. But it doesn't have to be that way, because Laser Spine Institute can help you take back your life from chronic neck and back pain. With a less than 1-inch incision, our minimally invasive procedures have provided relief to over 60,000 patients with a 97% patient satisfaction rate. So get ready to stand tall and live the life you've imagined for yourself without pain. Are you or a loved one suffering from a bulging disc, herniated disc, spinal stenosis, pinched nerve, or degenerative disc disease? Call our spine care consultants now for a no-cost MRI review and to learn more. It's time to say goodbye to chronic neck and back pain. What have you got to lose? Laser Spine Institute, the leader in minimally invasive spine surgery.
Call 855-720-BACK. 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 That's 855-720-BACK.
Don't be such a pussy. Subscribe to the Say It With Me podcast with Joe Raineri on iTunes today.
Yeah, you heard her. Thank you very much for dropping by here. Again, Miami Acura hotline 855-WTF-2255. Yankee fans who are in mourning here today, trying to pick up the pieces, figure out where to go from here. And you wouldn't be a Yankee fan watching the Red Sox celebrate at Yankee Stadium without trying to assign some sort of blame here, because it's got to be somebody's fault. And I'm going to tell you exactly whose fault it is. I think we're blaming the wrong people, Yankee fans. You're not looking at it from the right way. I think it's very simple as to why the Yankees ended up losing yesterday. Two big reasons there, but I do also want to thank WagerTalk.com and remind you guys, when it comes to sports betting and it comes to sports wagering, nobody's got better information on the net than WagerTalk.com. Make sure you guys head over there and check it out. A lot of free picks. And come and join us tomorrow as our man Ralph Michaels joins us with his locks of the weekend. So we'll make you some money there tomorrow. But here's the deal. I've heard everything from Aaron Boone's got to go, bring back Joe Girardi, Stanton sucks, and Stanton had one of the worst at-bats I think I've ever seen in the history of Yankee Stadium when it meant the most. It was awful watching him swing like he didn't have a clue as to what was going on there in the ninth inning. But you look at it, a lot of people, the reason they think Boone had the issue was because Boone waited too damn long in Game 3 to be able to pull out Severino and go to the pen. And then he did it last night as well with CC Sabathia. Sabathia loaded the bases with 2 outs in the first inning. He ended up escaping without any damage being done. He pitched around a 2-out walk in the second inning, and then the wheels started to come off in the third inning, and that's where people are looking at Boone and going, what in the hell did you do? Like, why did you leave him in? He opened up the third inning, and I think he pegged Benintendi, right? He hit him by a pitch. And then the problem was CC Sabathia, being a left-handed pitcher, then faced 5 consecutive right-handed batters, all of whom had already seen him at least once in the game, who had seen him in the first or the second inning. So the question is, why was there nobody in the bullpen warming up in between the second and third inning. And because we knew that he was going to face one left-hander, he hit him. And then he had 5 straight right-handers coming up to plate. Why in the world would you not have had Robertson or somebody else up in the bullpen to combat that and get ready in an elimination game? And these are all very fair questions and fair criticisms of Aaron Boone. He probably he waited too long once again to be able to pull it out. But it's not necessarily Aaron Boone that is the problem here. The problem with the Yankees is analytics. And the Yankees got so into analytics this year. They over-analyticked everything to the point where they forgot that baseball actually has a heartbeat. Baseball is a living, breathing thing. A game does have a pulse. It does have a soul. And you need to be able to, no matter what the numbers tell you, you need to be able to make decisions based upon what is happening at that particular moment in the game at that time. 162-game season, you can analytic yourself to death, and it'll all work. 90% of the time, the numbers don't lie. Over a season, that makes sense. But the problem is that other 10%, when it doesn't work, if you stick to just the analytics and you don't stick to being what the game is telling you, and you don't use what you're feeling and what's going on at the moment, then you find yourself going home like the Yankees are now. You know, the analytics are great. You built a roster filled with guys like Judge and Stanton because at Yankee Stadium, Sanchez at Yankee Stadium, you should be able to check swing home runs. Nobody hit more home runs than the Yankees all year long, except for the fact they didn't hit any in the last 2 games, except that when they needed the home run, they didn't get it. What you saw last night with Stanton and Sanchez was Stanton went up to the plate. You got Kimbrel on the mound, who couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat, okay? He threw 17 balls, 16 to 13 of the first 16 pitches were balls. You could have had Stanton actually take every damn pitch and probably walk in another run, and so could have Sanchez. But the problem was Stanton went up there thinking I have to hit a home run, and he swung at 3 pitches he shouldn't have swung at, and he looked awful doing so. And Sanchez, the same thing. I mean, as great as it is, the home run, the grand slam would have been wonderful. All you needed was a single, and that game is tied, and you live to see another inning. But the problem is they didn't. They stuck with the analytics all throughout. Boone stuck with the analytics. Instead of pulling CC Sabathia, instead of getting Robertson in there to pitch to 5 straight right-handers in the 3rd inning, the analytics told him something. And if you're going to live by analytics and you're going to win 100 games like you did, congratulations, well, then you're going to die by analytics when all of a sudden the 10% of the time it doesn't work is the 10% of the time that you need it to work. And if it's not there, you've got to rely on other things like baseball knowledge and the feeling of what's going on. And I don't think it's that Boone didn't understand his pitching staff or his bullpen. I think Boone was given very explicit instructions. The numbers don't lie. He spent all year looking in a damn book and a spreadsheet, and the numbers told him to keep CC Sabathia in there. The analytics told him to keep CC in there. They told him to keep Severino in there. And, it told them that we need home runs to win. We need launch angles. Well, congratulations. Launch angles are great when you actually hit home runs, but when you don't hit the home runs, that's the problem. And the numbers for the Yankees were just terrible. The number of Yankees retired in a row by the Red Sox from the 5th to the 8th inning was 11 in a row. They didn't get any hits at all there. They didn't get any. They got outscored just terribly in just about every facet of game 3 and 4. And I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I know a lot of people want to go, well, CC Sabathia and Aaron Boone and all this. The truth is analytics killed you because that's all you had. And when analytics didn't work, when you weren't getting the home runs, you didn't have another answer. And as good as CC Sabathia has been in his career and for the Yankees, and make no mistake about it, CC Sabathia was a big part of why the Yankees won the 2009 World Series. He was a big part of number 27 there. But he also now, in 2018, was a big reason as to why they didn't advance and play in a possible World Series this year. wasn't good enough to win. And it wasn't good enough, and I don't blame CC Sabathia. I blame Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner for putting them in this position, that in a Game 4 elimination series, the best you had was CC Sabathia to go out at 400 years old to try and win you this game. And it didn't work. And keep this in mind. The Red Sox won in part because CC Sabathia, at almost 40 years old, is still a member of the Yankees, while the Red Sox have guys like Chris Sale, Nathan Eovaldi, and Rick Porcello, who, by the way, all three of those guys combined for 19 innings in the series and allowed just 4 runs against that analytic machine monster lineup of the New York Yankees. And P.S., in the 3 games the Yankees lost, their starting pitchers, they pitched 8 innings and allowed 14 runs. And keep this in mind, okay? Over the last 2 years, the Boston Red Sox and Theo Epstein and company and ownership there, they went out and traded for Chris Sale, Nathan Eovaldi. The Houston Astros, who, by the way, are also getting ready to repeat, they went out and traded for Justin Verlander and Garrett Cole. And the Yankees, over the last 2 years, they traded for Sonny Gray, J.A. Happ, and Lance Lynn. So if you want to know why it is that the Yankees didn't win this series and didn't win last night, it's not Aaron Boone's fault. It's not Stanton's fault. No, it's the front office's fault that while the Astros and the Red Sox were making deals like this, the Yankees were stuck with a 39-year-old CC Sabathia to try and save their season. And it didn't work. And it didn't work because analytics destroyed them, and the front office didn't help them and get them the pitching necessary to be able to survive a 3-game, best 3 out of 5 series against the Red Sox. The Red Sox were the better team. The Red Sox deserved to win. Timely hitting, great starting pitching, and they may not have the bullpen the Yankees have, but you know what? If you don't use it correctly, it doesn't really matter one way or the other. Starting pitching was the reason why the Red Sox, it's certainly a big reason as to why the Astros are waiting for the Red Sox, and one of those 2 teams is going to be heading to the World Series. And their organizations, their ownership, their general managers, they went out and got guys like Verlander and Garrett Cole, and the Red Sox got Nathan Eovaldi and Chris Sale, and the Yankees have Lance Lynn, J.A. Happ, and Sonny Gray to their roster. So don't blame Aaron Boone. Don't be pointing fingers at bad management. You won 100 games because the way the analytics showed up, it allowed you to win 100 games. The batters and the people that you have in that organization and that lineup, it was great to win 100 games. But in a best 3 out of 5 series, take the analytics and wipe your ass with them because it doesn't make a damn bit of difference. Game 3 and Game 4, you had the bullpens. Instead of doing what the analytics told you, you should have went with your gut, Aaron Boone. If you made any mistake, you should have went with your gut and been able to make the necessary changes, go to the bullpen, and let it work from there. But you didn't because the analytics won you 100 games. But you know what? The analytics, CC Sabathia, and a lack of moves by the front office, quality moves to upgrade the starting pitching, was the reason why the Yankees didn't lose. So don't blame Stanton. Don't blame Aaron Boone. Blame Brian Cashman, Hal Steinbrenner, and their unbelievable use of analytics now is the reason why they weren't good enough to be able to beat this Red Sox team. So, and yes, the Astros, to me, are definitely set up. I think that's going to be one hell of a Game 7 series. I think that's going to be an awful lot of fun watching these 2 teams go together. They're built very similarly. They got guys that can hit from both sides of the plate. They got really good starting pitching to beat the Boston Red Sox. All right, guys, that does it for me. I want to thank our good friends, Anthony Chang from the Miami Herald. He stopped by a little bit earlier today, talked about the Miami Heat, getting ready for the start of the season, what's going on with Jimmy Butler. Also, Antoine Staley from USA Today, Athlon Sports. He came by. We talked Dolphins. We talked Hurricanes. We talked University of Florida Gators. All great stuff. If you missed those interviews, don't worry. You guys know that's the best thing about live streaming. As soon as we're done here, you guys can check it out. It's posted here across Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, Twitch. You guys have access to it all. So stop by, check out those interviews. Some great stuff. Want to thank them very much for coming by. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. Join us tomorrow as WagerTalk.com's Ralph Michaels drops by to make you some money for this weekend. We'll do that at 4 o'clock. So come back, join us tomorrow. Enjoy your nights. Thanks for making us a part of it. We'll see you tomorrow.